Well, we'll see if this is going to work. It says we're live.
Yeah, lies. All right. So, if you would like to keep the air conditioning running, because it was 100 degrees when I left the gym today, donate here. Air conditioning and internet so that we are not sweating while we're providing you this quality entertainment.
Yeah.
Um,
You use that term awful loosely.
we've been doing this how many years? There's got to be some quality in there somewhere. If you like coffee, and who doesn't, excuse me, King Harvest Imperial Coffees, they have a North Texas Troublemaker blend. You should probably try it.
It is good.
When you order it, let them know you heard about it here.
Even if we do have somebody over here drinking tea.
She's weird.
Yeah.
If you like t-shirts with funny sayings, tinyurl.com, Among the Leaves Tees, run by a friend of ours. Let them know you heard about it from us.
Yeah. Are we done yet?
What?
Are there two?
There we go. Try two.
Yeah, try two.
Oh.
Try one. YouTube decided to go eat and quit.
We have a full peanut gallery today.
Yeah.
Rita's here, Lisa's here, Cedar's here, and John is here. Feeling a little outnumbered, but that's just me.
Why do you think I'm sitting in the corner? I've got my back to two walls. Hello all and welcome. I got to talk about writing for a minute. One of the problems with writing stuff that you know is when you go back and read it and realize that most of your readers are not going to understand what you're talking about. And you have to go back and dumb it down.
Mm-hmm.
Not dumb it down. Elaborate further.
No. I made a mistake of writing something very technical.
Mm-hmm.
That was your first mistake.
And I was all happy with it because it got me halfway done on the story last night, about 4,000 words. And I went back this morning and read it and went,
Nobody's going to understand a word I've written.
Nope. So I went back and recalculated what I was trying to do with that section of the story.
Well, it's not just that. When I write law enforcement, same thing. I'll write a law enforcement scene I'm quite happy with. I realize nobody will understand a bit of the baffle gag. But also, if I actually write it dumbed down the way it is, it's boring.
Yeah.
Police work is boring, folks. It really is. So I hate having to spice up the when I'm writing about law enforcement, but I do.
Yeah.
Because law enforcement is boring as hell.
Yeah. Well,
Why are you on Zillow?
I was looking at the house that's next door to mine that's for sale.
Oh, they're gone down on the price yet?
No, but they now have interior photos because they
Ooh.
actually cleaned it and painted it. Some of it, not all of it. They didn't touch, like, the ceiling fans are nasty looking.
Yeah.
No, guys, just so you know, I think there's text that we're having some weird internet issues. So
Oh, really?
it's freezing, that's why.
We're
Refresh.
having internet issues. Sorry, guys.
Interwebs is
Yeah. No, I just
Funky
got this
today.
alert that there's something going on in our neighborhood. So
Bless their heart. I love when they do that.
we're freezing a lot. So
Yeah.
that's why.
So yes, I'm monitoring what's going on with the house next door to me because they're asking more than the house is worth. It has serious foundation issues,
Yeah.
from what I'm told. But I'm also a little concerned about who's going to buy it and be my neighbor.
Yeah. Plus the asbestos siding, among other things.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if they came down super cheap on that house, I would seriously contemplate buying it and turning it into my library.
Yeah.
/
And it
clubhouse for the North
Might
Texas.
have enough room to hold your books. Might.
No, because I know libraries, and if you buy someplace with enough room, the library will simply expand until it doesn't fit anymore. I know how this works. I know
Cats in
exactly how this
libraries
works.
are gases. They expand to fill the available volume.
Yeah.
Sir Terry's L space.
Yeah. So, yeah, you think law enforcement's boring. Try writing bending metal and make any kind of sense to people.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're using benders and English wheels and clippers.
So I think the question is how much of it is pertinent to the story, and how much can you shave off
Yeah.
and still get the
Point across.
point across to the reader.
Well, yes and no, because when it comes to law enforcement, we've got what 40 years of Hollywood distorting what people think law enforcement's about.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt on that. But I'm with the metal bending in specific. It's like how far in the weeds do you want to wander without losing the story?
Exactly. And that's part of the problem because it's integral to the story,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it's not. It's a very complex process to do what he's doing in the story.
Yes, and you need to convey that.
Yeah.
I know Dorothy and I talk sometimes about the depth of research that she gets
Yeah.
into for her stuff.
For 2 sentences.
Right, and I mean, I will do research, but I think I touch a little bit more lightly because I'm not as necessarily concerned with all the details.
Yeah.
I just need to get enough on the page.
Exactly. And I've done that. I've done 6 hours of research on a gun for two
Mhm.
sentences in a
Mhm.
novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick, that's a good point. Forey Ackerman's
Of
house
course, yeah.
was nothing but bookcases.
Well, I think it can be quite honestly argued. I spent 3 years in research for the rural fantasy I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's still ongoing.
I mean, I think so. I've been on my Substack on Saturdays because I write Mad Genius on
Yeah.
Saturdays. Rather than writing something specific for Substack, I'm mining my 600 Mad Genius posts I
Yeah.
have written in the past, grabbing some of the best of those and reposting them on my Substack. And as I was setting up for this Saturday, I was pulling a post where I had been writing about life experience and stories that people tell and how you can mine those
Yeah.
to turn into stories, which especially if you're writing something that you have experienced or lived, makes it a little easier on the research because you're writing from where. But on the other hand, that comes with pitfalls.
Yeah.
I got 2 books out of it.
Right. But when you're putting it into fiction, it comes with making sure that you aren't using mental shorthand.
Which is another guilty part. Yes, Alan, metal bending is both story background and integral to the story. So I'm walking a fine line with it.
And some readers love that in-depth info dump. I mean,
David Weber has sold how many books
Yes.
on info dumps?
Yeah.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
example that we all
Yeah.
immediately.
Well, it looks like it's glitchy everywhere on the West, but it's fine on the East Coast. Thanks, John.
Weird.
Does anybody follow? Well, I suppose. How many people follow Larry Correa on social media?
Yeah.
He got the proofs back for his the last volume of his epic fantasy.
Yeah.
And apparently the dedication reads to George R.R. Martin. See, it's not that hard.
Love it, love it, love it, love it.
That's actually apparently the actual dedication.
He said he was going to do that quite a while ago, so
Yeah.
I was not surprised to see.
To George R.R. Martin. See, it's not that hard.
Very
Hey,
simple,
Don.
very direct, very much a thumb of the nose.
Hopefully, you've got about half of that rick filled with firewood. Otherwise, it'll be in the next county tomorrow.
I'm trying to remember what this is. What this is actually called. Caucus-Nock.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, we do appreciate y'all sticking with us, even if we are having problems. or the interweb is having problems. The
I'm pretty sure that Frank is probably having micro sleeps
Yeah.
and hitting the button every time his head does a wobble.
Yeah.
A new episode of Epic of Gilgamesh was discovered on cuneiform tablets, plus 5,000 more years, still updated quicker than George R. R. Martin. They found a new Mozart song.
Yes, they did.
Mozart dropped his latest quicker than George R. R. Martin.
Yeah. And not only that, they found another copy of the Declaration of Independence,
Yes, they did.
which just sold for $9 million.
I wouldn't have sold it.
And with the help of AI, they have deciphered the Herculaneum scrolls.
No one kicks out the jams like Mozart, yo.
Bram Stoker has a new release for the holidays.
Oh, it's just,
It's funny. It's to the point. It's actually funny.
it has gotten to that point. If
It's a joke.
yeah, well, and the simple fact, if he hadn't been such a rampaging shit, it wouldn't be that funny. But he
Right.
was. So
Well, the problem with him and Rothfuss is that they have turned off a lot of readers.
no kidding.
I mean, if they could have been humble about it,
Yeah.
then readers would be sympathetic and
Yeah.
cheering them on. Instead, readers are like, well, if you're going to crap all over my dreams,
Yeah.
I am going to laugh at you.
But what we've also seen is a number of readers who now will not read anything until the entire series is complete.
Yes. So they're hurting everyone, not just
Yeah.
themselves.
I hated to have to do it, but for our novel, for the novels we're doing 20. Y'all do realize we're doing novels at 25, right? For our novels, I'm having to ask, unless I know there's certain authors, they're going to finish the series. But I'm having to ask for complete series, and it's like I hate to do that because I can't produce a complete series, so I hate to ask other people to do it.
Oh, all right, Dawn. Nibbling called, and she's been accepted into the engineering program she applied for. Outstanding.
Yeah, well done,
Yeah.
well done.
See, STEM is alive and well for females.
Well, I'm well for everybody.
Hello. I took almost a complete undergraduate degree in chemistry.
I
and
know you
not
did.
One point in that was in the class were the females outnumbered by the men.
I know.
It's
But
to
it's-
the point where it's ridiculous.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yes.
But to hear conventional wisdom,
Yeah.
women don't go into STEM.
I think
Pretty
the
sure
only
nursing
science class that I was in where women were not outnumbered by men, and it was probably a tie,
Yeah.
was bioinformatics, and that was because it was mostly computer programming.
Yeah.
And women still don't like that.
Pretty sure nursing is part of STEM, and every nursing class I wandered by was a lot of women in there.
Yeah, I would say 9-to-1 women to men in nursing.
That's kind of
But
conservative.
that's been the case for a long time.
Yeah.
Male nurses used to be the norm until Florence Nightingale
Yeah.
made nursing a respectable profession. And now male nurses are perceived as effeminate, which is not. If anyone
They
knows
obviously have
anything
not
about
encountered
nursing,
some of the male nurses I have in hospital.
well, and that's the thing is that it is very much a perception and an erroneous one, and the work that nurses have to do. Sometimes a guy is going to do a better job than a little girl trying to heft around a 350-pound patient. But it was interesting for me as a STEM student who was also taking art classes to look at the proportions. But overall, I would say that there were more women in my college classes than there were men.
Of course.
And I think that if you look at the statistics for American colleges, that is actually the case. Male college
Across the
enrollment is plummeting.
Across the
Who
board.
wants to go to college that you have years?
Right.
So,
Well, that's part of it. And
Yes, we are, Steve. Network issues.
Some folks are having network issues, some aren't. So
Yeah.
we're gonna run with
hopefully,
it.
hopefully on replay, this will be okay.
Yeah.
So
It's YouTube. Who the hell knows?
But
Yeah.
most of the male nurses that I've encountered in the
Mhm.
last 10 years in hospitals are military veterans.
Yeah.
Most of them former corpsmen or medics.
Right. Right. It's a good career path.
Yeah,
for
who
them.
moved over, and they are laughing at most of the patients in hospitals, going, "You ain't hurt.
Yeah.
I've seen hurt."
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know how prevalent this was in other areas. In the 90s, when I got my EMT, I went through EMT class. We were co-linked with a nursing class.
Yeah.
And the EMT class was 19 guys and a girl.
Yeah.
And the nursing class was the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So medical, a whole bunch of them were going to EMT paramedic.
Yeah.
same thing in the 70s. When my youngest daughter went through paramedic school, she was told by her professor, "I don't like female paramedics. I'm going to run you out of here."
Good luck with that.
And my daughter
I've
went,
met your
"Yeah,
daughter.
challenge accepted."
I've met your daughter. Good luck with that.
But the oddities that you get into, she's small. She's 5'2",
Yeah.
was about 115, 120 pounds. Her EMT she was working with was female, 5'3", 105 pounds.
Oh goodness.
They got stuck on a bariatric unit.
Oh,
Yeah.
And, it's like every call, "We need a lift assist. We need a lift assist. Why can't you just handle the patients?" We're on a bariatric rig. The smallest patient we've had today is 450 pounds.
Yeah.
You
I mean, that was one of the factors. I had intended to follow my dad's footsteps and do emergency
Yeah.
medicine, even just as a volunteer EMT. And one of the factors that kept me from, when I was trying to decide on a degree, from
Mhm.
going paramedic is A, I know how pathetically paramedics are paid.
Yes.
And B, I didn't think I would be physically capable of, because keep in mind that I would have gotten my paramedic certifications and whatnot, and I would have been about 38.
Yeah.
So that is an age out age for most paramedics anyway, male or female. So it is a very physically demanding job, and it is horrendously underpaid.
Well, my daughter was a long-term paramedic, over 10-year paramedic, and her pay was $19.50 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The garbage man in Sacramento,
Yeah.
starting pay was $23 an hour.
Yep. Yep.
$7.25 an hour when I started.
And I was in rural New England, and I'm going to guess the starting pay was probably like $9.50 an hour when I was looking at it.
Yeah.
It was sad.
We had
sad.
I don't know if it's still the case. When Chris and I we took the same class, and you had to do ER rotations. You had to go sit in the ER for, I forget how many, it was a long time ago, I forget how many hours.
40
And-
hours.
Huh?
40 hours probably.
I don't know. And the fun part was the number of times it was like, okay, where are those EMT students? Send them to Bay 3. It's like, so we show up at Bay 3. Okay, we're here. What are we gonna do? You're gonna stand there and look menacing. What? Ook.
Yeah. Yeah, Don, the small ones always end up climbing through the broken glass to assess and stabilize. Yes.
Yeah, in car wrecks.
We taught a rescue course when I was an instructor down in Florida back in the 70s. And we purposely put the members of the fire department in the wrecked vehicles as patients. And that freaked a lot of people out. We kept getting asked, "Why do you do that?" I said, because it's important that you understand what those patients are going through
Yes.
when you cover them up with a blanket,
Mhm.
and then you start using a K28 saw, or you start using Hearst tool
Hearst, yeah.
around, over, and under them.
We always picked the smallest one we could to crawl into wrecks like that because we had to get a crash blanket.
Yeah.
And it's usually a her. If you are a small female on the fire department or an ambulance, you are going in the wreck. I'm sorry. And smaller the better because we just go pack the crash blanket around you and the patient. And if you are a hunk of cheese, we're not going to be able to get the crash blanket around you. And then we can't start working on the.
Well, the funny part with our department was the best Hearst tool operator was the little girl.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
She could run that hearse tool better than we could as instructors.
As long as they hold it up, because it ain't light.
No, but she could get in there and pop doors, cut top off. You know,
Well,
we're sitting there still trying to figure out angles. She's going, get out, just get
Power
in.
assist. And when technology is one of the great equalizers.
Yep.
And you've got a 105-pound woman that can run that hearse power tool. There is no reason she can't can opener a car just as fast or faster than a guy with a hearse power tool.
Yeah. Sorry about that, TC. It's shutting down every minute for her.
Yeah, there was a comment on Discord as well that we appear to have broken YouTube entirely.
Oh, good. That's
Oh,
it.
lovely.
Frank's already drunk, and
Yeah.
every time he passes out, thunk, he hits the button.
All right, let's see if we can get another 10 minutes, and we'll make this a short one today. So
Yeah.
there's no point in frustrating y'all, frustrating us, frustrating everybody else.
And they can always come back and watch it later
Yeah.
because it's smooth on our end. So hopefully the recording will be smooth.
Yeah.
Jesse
just
Rapper
takes
said
away
it's
from
working
being-
great.
away from being the live chat.
Yeah.
Which I know is important to them.
Now this freeze, just your head went down.
Yeah, I'm sitting right here and it's freezing for me like
Is it?
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's freezing in the shop, so
So who knows?
it is what it is.
Yep.
Hey, there's Mike.
So anyway,
For once it's working in Kansas City. Every other time we try to get them on the internet. it's
Yeah.
messed up.
How about standalone stories are connected? As long as your arc is finished, I'm okay. If it's connected, you don't have an arc, that's fine. If your standalone stories are in some sort of arc, it needs to be done, because I've got to be able to tell the prospective buyers, the readers, that the story arc or the series is done. Otherwise, a lot of them won't buy it. They won't buy it till they can be sure it's done, and they won't be left hanging for George R.R. Martin periods of time.
sorry, Bob. It was good to see Bob in person this weekend
Gotta get a complex.
at the reunion. Yeah, we're all on so many lists. It's not funny.
If you're not on a list, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, they're the same with shorts. They can connect, but they also have to work as standalone. That's a good point.
Yes.
And another thing is, if you're going to submit a short to an anthology, please make sure it matches the submission for the anthology.
There's a note of frustration in that voice.
Well, that's something that Raconteur Press has run into rather a lot.
Yeah.
Is the fact that people skim the open call and send in whatever popped into their head or something they already had in
Yeah.
a drawer just to see if it sticks.
Yeah.
I know when I was reading for Goblin Market, there were a couple of stories that were good stories, but they didn't have a market in them and they
Yeah.
didn't have a goblin in them.
Yeah.
And I would have taken a story that had one or the other. It didn't even have to have both.
Yeah.
or a goblin facsimile, something noisome little creature.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
Goblin, just something.
You know, if it's
something vague.
cowboys, at least have a freaking cowboy in it somewhere.
Right? Yeah.
Oh,
But
Something so banded.
well, and
I'm an asshole. Everybody knows that.
it's one of those things that I get why authors do it. Sometimes it's because they have a story that doesn't have a home and they're
Mhm.
trying. I know for a fact that one of the stories that I read for Goblin Market was because the author hadn't been able to sell it anywhere else.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so sometimes that's what the author is doing. Sometimes the author doesn't understand the call. And it's okay to ask questions about open calls. It's not okay to, unless
To try to bend the open call to your will.
well, no, I was more thinking about the whole asking questions, but don't ask us to do your homework kind of question.
Yeah. Well, that too.
So,
also don't throw spaghetti at the wall with the notes. This is what it is.
I mean, throwing spaghetti at a wall, isn't that what all of us do when we submit a story to the anthology? Really?
It's also like, seriously?
Don, your problem is you're competent at what you do, and that's what scares people because they're A, not used to running into competent people, B, they're not used to running into females that are competent in a law enforcement environment.
I've trained a lot of competent females.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
But they are the norm, not they are the exception, not the norm.
I am learning as a publisher something which seems a bit illogical, but apparently writers don't read so good.
Readers don't read so good.
Writers, authors not read words good. Because the number of we've been fairly where's Mike? We've been fairly clear on our anthology guidelines. This is our call. This is what we want. And then I open the what we're getting. It's like, did you read the call?
Yeah.
Did you read the call? Nope. Did not call. Did not read the call.
Don, you just like being an E4. But you're really an E6. You just don't
Professional
realize.
E4.
Yeah.
Professional E4 is their thing.
Yep.
And I got Mike wound up.
Well, you can deal with him on Discord.
Oh, I'm not on Discord. Yeah. Also, folks, if you're around social media and you see one of our little Racketeer Press marketing things, steal it. Steal it and use it. We're doing, Cedar and Sarah are doing these wonderful little marketing things. Steal them. Steal them and distribute them at will, please. We need to get more eyes. Who did the Jacob Holo robot?
Oh, that was Sarah.
Yeah,
Sarah.
it's totally Sarah. And I gave them all to Heather, and she was squealing this morning.
I dropped it on her page.
Yeah.
So anybody that knows Jacob Holo or has run into him in a con, he wears a bow tie. Never seen him without one, which is weird.
It's his
Yeah.
author persona thing.
Yeah.
It's branding. It's totally a good thing, a good idea to do.
So he's got bow ties. So Sarah coughed up an image of a fighting robot with a steel bow tie.
Yeah.
And so I dropped that on Heather's page, and apparently she squeed. So go ahead and steal them and distribute them, please. Reading that call is why I've not submitted anything. What I'm hearing is excuses.
All you got to do is sit down and write, folks.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things about the open calls is if you don't have an idea, go look at the list of open
Yeah.
calls. You will have an idea by the time you're done going through that. I promise you.
Well, we're doing this is one of the reasons we're doing the homework thing. If you're watching our Substack, you'll notice that we're having homework, where Mike
You got
or
to do something to get people going in the right direction.
Mike or Nick or Chris, God bless them, those guys are workhorses, are doing these little posts about, hey, this is where to get your inspiration. This is what we're looking for.
We're also putting links to those articles on the open call so people know they can go look.
Apparently, we're also doing that.
We can make it. So
We're also doing that. I gave writing, now I make quotes.
Differs, really. You
Differs-
know how to write.
Differs can write. Differs does a lot of things.
Yes.
A lot of things. And has 3 small children underfoot. Give Differs a few years, and then she might have the brain span to be able to finish something.
But she writes good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but if my ideas don't fit any of them, I'm not wasting your time. As broad a reach as we're doing, if your ideas don't fit something,
James, you can write it and sell it yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
99 cents.
Yes. You can absolutely put up short stories. And if
Take
they are
all of them.
well written and they have a decent cover, and I have written a lot of articles on how to create a decent cover, you don't have to go out and spend money on buying a cover unless you want to. But if you put short stories out and you're consistent with your releases,
Yeah.
people will find you, people will read you, and they'll be asking you for more.
We approve the consistency of releases theory, by the way.
Yes, I
And-
have collected data on that. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and short stories can lead to longer things like novels.
Yes. Suddenly your short story turns into, well, it's not a short story anymore.
Hello, John Vance Wright. I had a short story. It's 27,000 words. It's still going.
Yeah.
It's not a short story anymore, John.
3 books into it, it's still going.
Lloyd, oops, I've got a novel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lloyd Bam. I was doing a short story. This 5,000 words is the intro.
Yeah.
All right. Get back with us in 2026. We'll read it.
Who was it that wrote the 16,000-page outline for the short story?
Oh, good Lord.
Sounds like either David Weber or John Ringo.
Hey, David Drake did outlines that length.
Yeah.
Those were for novels. So
Now, this was somebody, and I can't remember who, is a notorious writer,
Mm.
wrote what turned out to be a 16,000-word outline for what was going to be an 8,000-word short story.
Sounds like David Weber.
Needless to say, it did not turn into a short story. Consistency.
Consistency is overrated.
Yeah. The thing is, folks, you do the best you can with what you got. If it's 50 words a day, that's fine. It's 5,000 words a day, yeah, so be it.
That's what I was going to. I don't know if I covered this last time.
Well, make it quick because we're going to shut off here.
I'll make it. It'll be whatever. If you're writing, please stop going back and read and
editing.
consistently redoing everything you're doing.
Yes.
That's how you wind up working on the same novel for 15 years, 7 years. I don't care.
Yeah.
Please write it. Please stop going back over, checking your work, and redoing everything you've already written.
Yeah.
That's why you wind up never publishing.
And
That is a consistent issue with new authors that I have seen over the last
Yeah.
15 years, is that they'll start something, go back, try to polish it, and they never finish it. So they'll have 7, 10, 20 half-finished things in the drawer. And while I will often have multiple works in progress going on,
Yeah.
I also at this point know how to finish something.
Yeah.
So instead of scattering yourself around like that, pick one. It doesn't matter if you think it's crap. Give it an ending.
Yeah.
And then you will have learned how to finish it. You can go on and make it better.
and the other thing is, don't throw anything away.
Yes.
Oh,
Just because you don't like it and you're going to take it out, fine. Put it in
Control
a friggin' junk folder
Control
somewhere.
X is a bad thing. No, talking to a young author, and this young author has been working on the same novel for 7 years. And
We were all there. We
Yes.
all beat on her, and
it's
we all know it didn't do a damn bit of good.
No.
and this other wants it to be perfect, and that's a lofty goal. But I'm here to tell you, nobody, the first time they do something is worth a damn.
Yep.
Even a writer.
Yeah.
We all suck when we start.
So you give yourself permission to suck. Write it, publish it, and then
Use the
Write the
feedback
next
to
one.
make the next one better. And here's the other thing too, which is part of the whole write it, publish it, which is don't go back over once you do finish your story. You go back over, you revise, you give it a week or two where you haven't looked at it, you go back and you read it again, and things will pop out at you that need actual revision.
Yeah.
But you don't go back over it, polishing it and honing it 20, 30 times.
No.
You will completely take all of your voice out of it. And this is how people wind up getting mistaken for AI bots.
Yep.
You want your voice, your imperfections to be in there, because that vitality is what makes people like stories.
Rick makes a good point. Says edit all the individual flavor down to pablum. Yes. And on that note, we're going to call
one
it
more
a day.
thing.
All right. Make it
If
quick.
you need to,
Just one more thing.
one more thing, if you need to find errors in your work, there's a simple one-step process for doing that. You take your mouse, you move the cursor over to SNED, and you click it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all your errors will pop out at you.
And then hit publish. Yes.
SNED.
Uh-huh.
You click on SNED, and hey, there's all your spelling
All
errors.
right, folks, we're going to cut this off. I know we're early, but everybody's having problems.
SNED. It's misspelling of sinned.
Yeah.
You hit SNED.
Everybody's having problems. We apologize.
It'll be better next time.
Yeah, we'll try to do better next week.
Well,
next week.
It'll be consistent next time. I don't know about better.
Ian's going on one more thing for 30
One
minutes.
more thing.
Remember,
One more
folks,
thing.
don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff. We'll see you next week and try this again. Thanks. Bye.
I think that's from